Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. Please remember to like the video and to make sure that you are still subscribed. So here's an interesting article. There seems to be, a little back and forth on how bad the global dimming situation is. There are some reports that say the effects of particulates are, less strong than we thought, or they're negligible, or whatever. And here's an article saying the cooling role of particulate matter on warming Earth stronger than previously thought. It's from December 3rd. So let's get into this. The relationship between aerosols, particulate matter, and their cooling effect on Earth due to the formation of clouds is more than twice as strong as was previously thought. Yes, if anybody who was unclear on the concept of global dimming, if we stop throwing particulate matter into the sky, it all falls out. We are basically doing geoengineering currently because we are pumping sulfates and other particles from emissions, fossil fuel emissions into the air constantly every single day. So if they all fall out, we actually get more heating and very quickly. As the amounts of aerosols decrease, climate models that predict a faster warming of the Earth are more probable. So again, adding to the conundrum of stopping global emissions, adding to the conundrum of lowering emissions, which is the whole point of all the entire climate movement, the Paris Agreement, COP25, and all of the things that people say that we need to do. The upshot of doing all these things is that we actually get more warming. Figure that one out, or go figure, or deal with it. I don't know. These are the conclusions of researcher Otto Haeskamp from SRON, Netherlands Institute for Space Research, who published the results in Nature Communications. He carried out his research together with Edward Grisbeard from Imperial College London and Johannes Quaz from Leipzig University. Since the 1970s, scientists have known that particulate matter in the air can give rise to clouds that reflect more light than clouds in a clean atmosphere. Clouds in polluted air contain more water droplets. Their stronger reflection has a cooling effect on the Earth. Suitable particulates, water droplets, arise when water condenses on aerosol particles. Thanks to the laboratory work of colleagues, it has already been known for some time that some aerosol particles are more suitable as condensation nuclei than others. The suitability depends on the size of the particle as well as how spherical it is. For example, desert dust particles barely absorbed any water to form cloud droplets, whereas industrial aerosol is good at forming cloud droplets. Haeskamp explains, the more suitable condensation nuclei there are in the atmosphere, the greater the number of cloud droplets there will be, and the better the cloud formed will be able to reflect light. You got that? Everybody clear on that? New analysis method. Satellites have also been used in the past to investigate the relationship between the quantity of aerosols and the quantity of cloud water droplets. Back then, the number of condensation nuclei was estimated by measuring the extent to which light was attenuated by the particulate matter present. That led to weak estimations of the effect of aerosols on clouds. Haeskamp and his fellow researchers used a new analysis method developed by SRON on existing satellite data from the French satellite Polder to derive not only the quantity, but also the size and shape of aerosol particles and their suitability as condensation nuclei. Using this approach, the researchers obtained a more accurate picture of the relationship between aerosols and their cooling effect. More than twice as strong as estimated. In its fifth assessment report published in 2013, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the United Nations emphasized the importance of satellite results that revealed a weak aerosol effect on clouds, whereas many models reveal a strong effect, Haeskamp concludes. But we think that the effect is more than twice as strong as estimated by the IPCC. Ooh. Ooh-wee. That is not good. The emission of particulate matter in the atmosphere is expected to decrease. Hasekamp says this means that the temperature will therefore rise faster because the cooling will partly disappear. From the various climate predictions, those based on pessimistic models that assume more global warming are more likely to be correct. Yeah. I don't know. If there's a way out, we're going to have to do a whole lot of regreening and rewilding, and that's going to have to happen before we start removing particulates from the air, before we start lowering emissions. It's a race between so many things happening. What's going to win? It's anybody's guess. But there's, we have a lot of knowledge about the likely scenario. Again, we were covering this the other day. More than 70 global South countries charge ahead with bold climate plans. This is about the COP25 from December 13th, 2019, at this year's United Nations Climate Summit. As this year's United Nations Climate Summit wraps up in Madrid, Spain, many activists, scientists, indigenous, and grassroots climate leaders say that rich countries are most responsible for the climate emergency have spent the talks dialing back ambition and blocking progress. This comes as deadly droughts, flooding, cyclones, and wildfires rage around the world. This week, more than 70 developing countries have announced they will accelerate their climate plans, and 72 countries have signed onto goals to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. But major emitters, Australia, China, India, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia, have made no such promises, while the U.S. is slated to pull out of the Paris Agreement entirely by next year. For more on the negotiations at COP25, we speak with Salim Hook. So this is an interview on Democracy Now! I'm not going to read the interview, but I just want to kind of read what's going on, or the upshot of the COP25. 70 developing countries have announced they will accelerate their climate plans, and they have signed on to goals to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. And reiterating, major emitters, Australia, China, India, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia have made no such promises. So yeah, that's where we're at. And moving on to this last article of this video, which will be semi-short. This indicates the problem with McCarthyism, or the new red baiting, Red Scare, the whole Russiagate thing. I'm not a Trump supporter, okay? So I'm a progressive lefty, okay? But Russiagate was a huge, incredible farce foisted upon the American public in order to divert attention away from the DNC and the Hillary Clinton operation, which was incredibly corrupt. And there actually seems to be, there is news coming out about the fact that the FISA warrants were obtained illegally, that there was illegal spying going on in the Donald Trump campaign. That's true. That's not false. CNN and MSNBC are like, blasting everybody with, this is a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It actually did happen. You can't, this is, we're in a post-truth world where facts that don't line up with your concocted reality are called conspiracy theories. And the left, MSNBC and CNN, love to use this term as much as anybody else. In fact, probably more than anybody else. So this is the problem with Russia, red baiting and Russiagate, is that it's eventually turned around and used on the people you like, or maybe even you. Russia's effort to convince Bernie Sanders voters to support Trump was central to their strategy to beat Hillary Clinton, according to a new study. This is, the new study makes it sound really official. This is just a smear piece from Business Insider. There's absolutely no truth to this. I'm going to link this below. But they're saying, researchers at Clemson University examined English language tweets that came from Russia and found thousands were designed to urge Sanders supporters to back Trump. Okay, so what they're calling people that were really upset about this corruption from the DNC and upset about what happened to Bernie Sanders? They're calling these Russian, Russian-backed tweets bullshit. Bullshit. There was a lot of like never Hillarys. There were a lot of people that were, supposedly there were people that were Bernie supporters that voted for Trump. What's actually true is that more Bernie supporters voted for Hillary in 2016 than Hillary supporters voted for Obama in 2008. That's a fact. So this is a bullshit smear piece. I'll link it below. You can debate me if you like in the comment section. I don't know how far that's going to go. The problem with this is that Hillary Clinton recently was on Howard Stern talking about the Russians backing Bernie, and this is, so Hillary Clinton is an unhinged individual running around going Russia, 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 and this is also going to be used. Or something that might be used to quash independent alternative news sources and voices, right? So you want to be very, very careful when you run with the football of a fake story under your arm going, here we go. You want to make sure that that's correct and true before you do that. That's all. Russiagate is bullshit. Red baiting is bullshit. Ukrainegate is actually bullshit. And, you're a highly ignorant person if you keep going on with these stories. Try to seek alternative news sources before you go forward. Stop watching CNN. Stop watching MSNBC. Stop reading the Washington Post. Huffington Post is not very good either. New York Times is not very good either. Stop it. These are, smear campaigns and whole things drummed up by, corporate media in order to get you to think that, the only good people are centrist, corporate friendly Democrats. And that's your only way out of, our current political situation, which is actually the worst possible thing that could happen to us. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so with the links below. Until next time.